All right, you filthy apes. Welcome back to AMC and ADD, where we buy, hold, and screw the hedgie. I've had lunch. I'm ready to go for the end half of the day today. I've entitled today's show "The Calm Before the Storm." End of day. Um, that's what I think we're looking at. We are indeed looking at what I think is the end of a storm. Um, sorry, not the end of a storm, but the beginning of a storm. Really, what we have is this calm. There's a strange calm happening. Volume day over day. Let's look at it. We went from 55 million on the 27th to 70 million on the 28th to 59 million on the 29th, and today we're going to probably be barely breaking 50. We're currently at 30 million shares halfway through the day today. So yeah, it's looking rough on volume. Looks like Robinhood's being pumped. Um, we'll get there. Let's look at this. We broke out of this ascending parallel channel, which is a bearish indicator, and indeed it did break out, and it broke out right at that point that I was saying. I felt like we kind of needed to squeeze up past this 38.73 level of support and stay up in that channel in order to stay in this channel and continue to trade. But instead, we fell back down into that point to where it squeezed right through the channel and broke out right at the tip there. That's what happens with these ascending channels and descending channels. They hit these levels of support and they either consolidate down to the tip and break out, or um, the reverse. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that channel. And it does appear that we might have a little bit of a channel that we're building currently. Let's see how far up this current uh, candlestick kind of forms right now. Before we go looking at predictions on where the price is going to move to. But this is a descending channel that I'm seeing. And we could actually be breaking out of it like right now. So if I were to draw it, maybe look a little something like this. Actually, not so much. It doesn't really have two touch points on the bottom, unless we were to count something back here. I'll tell you what I could draw though. Let's check it. Let's look at it at a different angle here. If we did something like this, base it off of where we're currently at, and use those, it would be a tighter band. But that would, again, like I said, it might be breaking out right now. So we'll see where this goes. We'll give it a little bit of time before we go making predictions. Volume real low, 30.3 million shares halfway through the day. Robinhood is trying to make a rally back. Watch out for pumping up there. We've seen that kind of stuff happen before. Amazon still currently down. They are making a little bit of headway and getting back to positive or more positive numbers, but for the most part, really kind of a rough. They were at $3,500 a couple weeks ago when Jeff Bezos left, and they went up to 3,700, and then last night they just tanked from 3,600 down to 3,300. Absolutely massive drop in price, in my opinion. It's only a 7% drop, I think. But that's pretty massive. Cinemark right now is down 1% for the day. Dogecoin down 4%. It is currently at just under 20 cents a share, or a coin. I always think in terms of shares, and so whenever I talk about cryptocurrency, I have to remember to call it a coin. GME is down 2.75, 2.78% today. Just a super harsh descending parallel channel right here. Just massive. It needs a breakout. It's got to be oversold here. Yeah, it's getting there. It's pretty close to being pretty much taxed out on being oversold, so it should be seeing some kind of correction here soon. Let's see, AMC still moving up. We are currently at a $37.81 level of resistance. Excuse me a second. Looks like we've tested off of that and are starting to head back down. Maybe we'll probably hit this 37.57 wall again. Let's just try and see if we can't draw that channel now. I'm just going to go ahead and put this down here, even though we don't have additional touch points down here. That seems to be the channel that we're in currently, and we're going to need to see a breakout. Now, it would have been really nice to have seen something along the lines of the opposite of what we saw when it broke out over here, going down. It would have been really nice to see something in the opposite direction happening like right here. But since it's already broke out down below and it's kind of getting closer and closer to the edge there, it looks like it's going to continue to follow down in this channel. We'll pull up options, take a look at those to see where we're at for the day. You know, being that it's Friday, I can't imagine there being a whole lot of volume. Well, okay, I'm pleasantly surprised. We got 35.2 showing up in volume right now for the calls. That's pretty heavy. And on the puts, I haven't looked at these in a while. The puts is stemming this massive amount of supports at $38 strike at 14.8. So we'll see how we finish out the day. Earlier the calls were stemming around 46.5 as being the heavy side of it, but it looks like it's actually centering around 40, so I'll change that. That was earlier this morning. So the spread is 40 to 38, and we are currently running at just under 38. So you know you could probably expect to see some of these call positions, or the put positions at $38 trying to pick up their money, and possibly maybe a late run up in the close to the end of the day trying to hit 40 to try and drive some of these options into the money. Just checking over Reddit. So there's been some talk about Trey having a video where he's talking. I haven't watched the whole video. I watched up to a point, and then I got busy doing something else. But I did watch up to the part where he started talking about how he's definitely gonna continue to back AMC, but he's gonna move on to some other topics. He kind of wants to move away from the DD portion of, but he is stemming it all around learning. I've heard reports that there's others as well that are making the same move. Um, I'm just going to continue to be me. I'm just going to come on here. I'm going to show you what I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis. I don't mind talking about the future. If we want to learn something about, you know, failures that I've had in my past, where I've learned from, and how I'm going to make those corrections for what I see myself doing in the future. Those are certainly topics that I'm willing to touch on. So if anybody brings up a question about that kind of stuff, I'm more than willing to talk about it. Um, Massive amounts of shares available to borrow currently. Wow, I have not seen anything like this before. That is huge. 5.4 million shares available to borrow. Where did those come from? What's happening? What is happening? Guys, this is, I mean, there's so many weird flags that are going off right now. 5.4 million shares available to borrow. Where did those come from? Okay, let's look at some of the other data. I'm not saying red flags. I'm saying just in general flags. Like just things I haven't seen before. Okay, so as it stands right now, it looks like 923,000 shares were returned for the day today, which is down further, almost a million. It was 342 earlier, so we're 923. Yesterday they bought 4.65 million shares yesterday. That was showing up on the borrowed change amount. Let's see. I'm wondering if the 4.65 million shares from yesterday are what we're seeing now on Stonko Tracker now. Because 4.6 plus, this value right here, or minus this value right here, would be less than a million shares. And we did have, 450,000 earlier. So maybe those available shares to borrow came from the shares that were borrowed yesterday. Um, yeah, this is if you had to resist a massive price increase, you would need a lot of shares to borrow. If we start seeing stockpiling of shares available to borrow, um, like we're seeing right now, maybe there's a massive fight that's coming. I mean, that's what it would lead me to believe. Oh, those numbers are just so weird. Short share interest is at 15.22%. Oh man, where's my phone? I'm gonna send out. I'm gonna send out a Twitter message to True Demon. I am a little curious. So let's see. So I guess one of the things I want to touch on is 4.25 million shares. No, what did I say? 4.65 million shares. And now all of a sudden, 5.4 million shares available to borrow, but on loan. Where did on loan move to? On loan went up from 97.6 to 100.2 million shares. So the free float on loan also increased from 19.1 to 19.59. But I'm just going to stick to the on loan. $97.6 to 100. I don't know how many words I'm allowed to use on here. Utilization jumped 88, wasn't it? 88, 89, 90, 93, 3%. All right, so I tweeted it. Maybe he'll see it and respond. I don't know. But extremely weird numbers. I mean, I just haven't seen anything quite like this. I want to say that I've been heavily tracking this for the last 3 to 4 weeks now, and I just haven't seen anything like that in that period of time. So this is new to me, and I'm not sure what to make out of this. Looks like we're testing the upper level of this descending parallel channel. What I would like to see happen right here is for this to consolidate down into this level of support at 37.57 and then break. My dog just got a bath from my wife and he's like running around the house like a crazy animal. Uh, like he doesn't know what it's like. He forgot what it's like to be clean or something. But what I want to see is this. I want to see this consolidate kind of like in this triangle pattern right here. So this level of support mixed with this descending channel that we're in, you want to see it consolidate and then break out up, as this is a bullish indicator. So that's what we're looking for. But if it doesn't, it could reverse back down and we could see it maybe consolidate into here and then breaking out. Right now, the puts are likely in the money to the point to where they can probably break even, depending on when they bought the puts. But you probably have a lot of puts that can probably break even right now. 37.30 or $38 puts, that is. So 30 cents less than what the strike price is at would probably on a Friday, if you bought them this week, they'd probably be breaking even about this point. I'm guesstimating. I'm not 100% certain on that. So you might see them sell off their puts, and then they probably won't manipulate the price as heavily unless it's something they can manipulate. Testing the waters to see if it's something they can continue to drive down or not. So I'm going to refresh the options just to see where we're at and see if that's the case. So I'm not tracking the $38 options in the OI, the open interest, but I am checking the volume from today, 15.6. Okay, so the volume's a little bit up from 14.8 to 15.6. As well for the call side, at $40 strike price, it's at 36.6, which is ever so slightly up as well. Hey, clean dog. Get off me. He's still wet. Go rub on the carpet. Wet dog. Let's see. So it looks like the SEC Enforcement Director Gerber S. Gerwal, today's press conference on the SEC's charge against Trevor R. Milton, founder of Nikola Corporation. Um, Wait, I want to play this so you guys can hear it.
This case is about the obligation of corporate officers like Milton to provide complete, truthful, and accurate information at all times when discussing their company's affairs. There is no end around or exception to this obligation. It applies to all public companies, even those that have only recently entered the public markets, including through SPAC transactions. This case also demonstrates that corporate officers cannot say whatever they want on social media without regard for the federal securities laws. We will hold all those who make materially false and misleading statements accountable, regardless of the communication channels they choose to use. This case is about the obligation
Wow.
of officers like Milton.
So again, I want to say thank you to Duncan for having that interview with me earlier. That was a great interview. I loved talking to him and finding about who he was and everything. But this right here, Duncan, this what we're talking about, cleaning up America's financial institution. This sounds like the start. I mean, that sounded like a man who's out to get people who are doing a lot of fraudulent activities, and he's making a statement for everybody to hear. It sounds to me like they're going to be putting their foot down, and we can only hope for the best on that. Um, that's great. I mean, that's an amazing speech right there. I want to love that. Yeah, I want to see more of that. We definitely need more financial institutions under fine tooth and comb, trying to pick them apart. Okay, so we're still choosing to move down in this descending channel. It's driving past that 3757 value, kinda, sorta. It is holding strong. 3757 is holding strong right now. It just beat down a wall. Let's see if it continues that way. Man, I just can't believe how low volume is. If institutions know that they can't buy more shares, and the hedge funds can't find more shares to short with, you have a stalemate, right? Seems like it. You have a Mexican standoff. And what that might be is what we're seeing. This Mexican standoff. For those of you who aren't aware. I think this is the one. Let me just preview this before I show it to you guys. And Glorious Bastards, if you haven't seen that movie, it's probably worth a watch. So I'm not going to show the whole scene, but essentially what happens is there's this big, huge shootout in the bottom, the basement of a cellar of a, it's like a bar scene, and so this is I'll just this is where I'll play it at. Let's see here. So this guy's like the last standing dude left after the whole room's like just been completely shot up, and and so he's just kind of like looking around like what's going on here? Why did we all just shoot each other up? What just happened? He's kind of lost. Let's see here.
You outside? Who are you? British, American? What?
We're American. What are you?
I'm a German, you idiot.
Speak English pretty good for a German.
I agree. So let's talk.
Okay, talk.
I'm a father. My baby was born today in Frankfurt, 5 hours ago. His name is Max. We were in here drinking, celebrating. They're the ones that came in shooting and killing. It's not my fault.
Okay, it wasn't your fault. What's your name, soldier?
Wilhelm.
Now, is there anybody alive on our side?
No.
I'm alive!
Nein, lass du nur doch nicht spucke!
Who's that?
Is the girl on your side?
Which girl?
Who do you think? Von Hammersmark.
Yeah, she's ours.
Das dachte ich mir.
Is she okay?
Du bist also zu den Amerikanern übergelaufen, ja? Sind die Zeiten so schlecht?
William!
Widerliche Verräterin! She's been shot! But she's alive! No.
Okay, Wilhelm. What'd you say we make us a deal?
What's your name?
Aldo. Okay, Wilhelm, here's my deal. You let me and one of my men come down there and take the girl away. No guns. No guns me, no guns you. And we take the girl and leave. It's that simple, Willie. You go your way, we go ours. And little Max gets to grow up playing catch with his daddy. So what do you say, Willie? We got us a deal?
Aldo?
I'm here, Willie.
I want to trust you. But how can I?
What choice you got, son?
Oh, okay. Aldo, I'm going to trust you. Come down.
Hey, Willie, what's with the machine gun? I thought we had us a deal.
We do have a deal. Now get the girl and go.
Not so fast. We only got a deal. We trust each other. And a Mexican standoff ain't trust.
Whoa. You need guns on me for it to be a Mexican standoff.
You got guns on us. You decide to shoot, we're dead. Up top, they got grenades. They drop them down here, you're dead. That's a Mexican standoff, and that was not the deal. No trust, no deal.
Wilhelm, sei nicht dumm. Denk aan Maximilian.
All right, Hal. Fine. Just take that fucking traitor and get her out of my sight.
Poor Maximilian. No daddy. Anyways, that's a Mexican standoff. That's a really good movie, guys. Highly recommend watching that one. What we have here is a Mexican standoff. You know, that's why I think this volume's so low. Both sides are kind of choosing to do a ceasefire because they both know where this is going. Let's look at inflow versus outflow real quick. Oh, come on, Weevil. Update already. Okay, that's odd. It's not. Oh, there we go. That took a second. My goodness. Let's see. Inflow is 278 million to 281 outflow. 281 million outflow. So, you know, we're just slightly lagging behind on the inflow. We are down 2%, but GME's down 2.73%. All things considered, I think we're doing all right. We did break past both levels of support at 37.57 and 37.40, but we're just ever so slightly below the 37.40. There is a 5,158 share buy wall at 37.35, which is being tested currently and disappeared, gone. So it will indeed looks like it's going to break down, continue to go further. I have no idea why I don't cover the entire screen with the numbers, guys. I don't, it's just a habit. I don't know. There's something about putting it to the left-hand side. I like to see the open space. Adam Aaron issued a tweet and said, many of you continue to be concerned about the AMC share count. In early June, we announced an all-inclusive share count total of 513,330,240 legally issued shares. Precisely 0 new shares have been issued by AMC since then. Give a follow and retweet. That's not the problem. I'm gonna retweet to that. I'll ask a question because I do want to know. Um, okay, so he tweeted further. He says, as to the existence of so-called fake or synthetic shares or the naked short selling of AMC shares, we are unaware of any information validating these theories. Also, we are unable to make any comment on the considerable trading of puts, calls, derivatives. So I'm going to say, what the heck? Okay, okay. So we did kind of break out of the channel here. We did use that level of support at 37.40. Let's see if it continues up. I'm going to say to Adam Aaron, can you explain the share count of, let's put in exact numbers here. Oh, where am I going to go to get that information? Right here. I forgot where I had it at. All right, let's get this number here. 115,320. I think this is the right way I want to post the question. Can you explain the share count of 265,918,657 shares for the total vote? Does this mean that institutional ownership exceeds into the float? Um, extends. I think extends is a better word. Extends into the float, hence the reason for such a low vote count. Charlie Vids just posted saying we're headed over 1 trillion in reverse repo. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if we get a response on any of those things. Okay, so we did break out of the channel. It looks to be like we broke past the 3757 level of resistance, and which has now become a level of support, which we're currently bouncing off of currently. It does look like there's room for it to bounce off of it and continue to head down. Not a whole lot of support below it. Well, it's holding. Let's look at the market in general. So there's 4,036 decliners to 2,502 advancers. So the market is down as a whole. Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and S&P are all down. We'll wait for the heat map here to kind of come back up and see what that looks like. See where the rough sectors are. A lot of red. Software and IT services is pretty hit hard. Banking is super rough. Computer sector, they're all oil and gas is looking pretty rough. The only things that are looking really good is this one over here, which I still don't know what this is. It looks like it might have to do with pharmaceuticals. Health. Oh, it's the health sector. That's got to be what HE is. It's health. So the health sector is looking good along with pharmaceuticals and some semiconductor. Which semiconductor kind of makes that's the sector that I've worked in most of my life. That makes sense. There's chip shortages everywhere. They're gonna continue to do well when there's chip shortages. It means that they've got to work overtime to try and get the chips out to people who need them. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this channel. We did briefly dip underneath my lower price valuation for the day today. I don't think I have the lowest price valuation. I think Eric does, down at 35. So I was briefly out of a contention for tally point for the day today. Um, I do think that we're going to have a late rally today. I mean, we're only at, we're 11:45, so about a half hour. Let's see, 45 minutes ago, we were about halfway through the day today, with volume at about 30 million. So, I think that there's a chance that we could possibly see another 30 million on the back half of the day today, but I doubt it. It's probably going to be more like 20 million, so we'll probably end the day at around somewhere between 50 and 60 million shares traded. What does that mean? That means that there could be a late day rally. I'm looking at Fintel to see if AMC has any new either 13F or NP filings. Nothing major. I mean, I'll throw it up on the screen real quick. I was trying to see where it was that we left off, and it might have been this one right here, Patriot Financial Group Insurance, but you can just kind of see for yourself that there's more buy orders than there are sell orders. This sell order right here consisted of 400 shares, which you can see right here. They had 400 shares they purchased in March and sold them at the end of June. But 400 shares, right? Any one of these buy orders fills that amazingly in abundance. This Ironwood Financial, a total of 665 shares they sold. It's drops in the bucket. At the end of June, there was a lot of buying going on. Don't have July's numbers yet. Let's see if our options sold off. Still there. Hey, Bo, how's it going? Good to see you back, man. Robinhood is currently trading up a little bit more positive than they were for the day. Again, if you're involved in this, watch out for that pump and dump. Don't get caught up in that. Amazon is down still. They're still trying to recover for the day, but that's not going to happen. Cinemark is down 1.5% on the day. Our competitor, Dogecoin is down almost 3%. GME is down 2.5%, and we're down 1.78. Trying to make a little bit of a recovery here. Kind of struggling out. It's kind of fizzling out right now, especially with the volume. Not having much luck right now. Just kind of a stair-stepping ladder attack to the price. I would be curious to see what the dark pool trading is on Robinhood at the end of the day versus AMC. That would be something interesting to see. Yeah, reverse repos are over $1 trillion. Highest ever. Mark down in your history books, guys. This will be a defining point in history. 1.039 trillion. So this person, this is Dems. Dems are tasty. On Reddit, it says, "I just looked at the most recent filing for AMC filed with SEC and was curious why the numbers seem so low. Until I did a simple Google search, average shareholder vote turnout. There are a number of articles to pursue at your leisure. Now let's take a look at the numbers. If they were a total of 265,000, 265 million, 265.9 million. I'm just going to round. Votes cast, one vote for each share. If you have 69 shares, you equal 69 votes. If we base that number on average voter turnout of 30%, that is just over 875,000 shares. Sorry, 875 million shares. Now let's say 30% is too low and we are confident more apes turned out for the vote and 40% of all shareholders votes. That comes to roughly 675 million shares. So if anybody out there is discouraged by these numbers released, I would suggest that you get a hold of yourself. This is not good news. It's great news. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Even if they try, you already know what they are. So the problem with this statement, though, is that if you didn't vote, your brokers can vote for you. And if you look at that, if I pull up the report here, that's why you have zero broker non-votes under Proposal 3, because the brokers voted. You don't know which direction they voted. You could probably kind of guess it based off of probably this number right here versus this number right here, where they went, and they probably all went for 4. If you took this number and subtract it from this number, I'll bet you get close to this number right here. Let's just try it and see what happens. Something probably close. Let's see. 232, 461, 595 minus 92. 92, 004, 574. Close. Not quite. So not all the brokers voted for this. There must have been some that either went to abstain or, well, actually, that might be the difference. If you subtract the abstain, if the brokers just didn't vote, we'll subtract that number from this as well. Let's see if that gets us closer to that 110. Minus 18, 468, 650. That's getting awfully close to that 110,000 or 110 million. So some brokers would have voted. Roughly about 11 million brokers. Oh wait, is that number? Boy, look at that. 988,371, 989,412. That's almost perfectly exactly what happened. So you had about 10 million, 10 or 11 million. I guess it would be 11 million. You had 11 million brokers vote against this. You had 18 million vote for this, and then the rest of them were for, and that's why you have zero broker non-votes. But the brokers could have voted. Just because you didn't vote doesn't mean that they can't vote. And they could vote. They could do abstain, against, or for. And if they chose not to vote at all, it would have been right here. This is where this would have shown up. So this is the total number of votes, period. End of story. That's how many votes there were. It was not that this is 30% of all the shareholders. This is everybody. This right here proves it that it's everybody. That's it. Everybody's shares that could have been voted is right here in this column under Proposal 3. Because if they hadn't have voted, it would have been under non-broker or broker non-votes. So I have a little bit of a problem with that statement. But anyways, all right, it's Friday and I'm looking forward to doing some fishing this weekend, maybe some golf, a pretty nice little Saturday actually, but I don't know if I'll have enough time. And then they say they're not our advisor, financial advisor, and they eat crowns. Um, yeah, I'm gonna respond to that because I mean I think we need to be real about this. Let's see here. Let's I'm gonna repost to that real quickly here. Um, Here it is. I just found the. Uh, so I'm saying basically everything I just said. Let's see here. It's called broker non-votes. So the turnout wasn't 265.9 million. The turnout was. So what's I guess it would be 155. Yeah. So I said, I think you need to go back and look at specifically at the difference between Proposal 2 and Proposal 3. Do you see the difference in broker non-votes? If you choose to not vote on certain proposals, your broker can vote for you. 265.9 million votes wasn't the votes casted, it was the votes total, or the total votes. Uh, hmm. 1 trillion in reverse repos. It's crazy. Absolutely nutty. Let's see where we stand now on inflow versus outflow. 299 to 305. What a day this has been. Down 1.97%. Robinhood's the only the only green thing I'm tracking. I just find that hilarious. They must have like a beta, like a super beta, a super super beta relationship to the rest of the market. Bo James is my man. I know him. Hopefully he's still here. If he has any questions, feel free to ask. Man, I just can't believe the reverse repo is that high, 1 trillion. Oof. Currently, we're showing negative 1.14 million shares returned, which is slightly up from 923,000. 1.14. Again, yesterday was 4.65 million shares borrowed yesterday. That's insane. 15.18% short share interest. Looking at the options. They look the same. I'm going to do some updating on my side though. 39.4 and 18.2. So at the call option of 40 strike, it's 39.4 thousand options open, and at 38 strike price, there's 18.2. Perfectly splendid. It was awesome. We had a good talk, and I really enjoyed that. It was great getting to know you for sure. I'm just kind of going through some of the different news that's going on right now. Okay, so this is I don't subscribe to this. I'm gonna just show it because you know I think it's interesting to see what some people have to say. But let's look at Dilly Gaff 1111. Let's talk volume. All right, so the current average volume for AMC daily is sitting at 158 million for this year. If you multiply 150 million for conservative and simpler calculation by 211 amount of days passed as of this post, you get a yearly volume of a whopping 31.6 billion. Now, as context, in a normal market situation, a stock's yearly volume will never surpass or usually even get close to its float. However, AMC's volume is a whopping 62 times its float. This has never occurred, to my knowledge, in the history of the stock market. Now, let's make some considerations. Even including day trader activities, most stocks never surpass their float in yearly volume. Again, usually not even close. But let's estimate that half of the volume is due to day trader activity, which is extremely high as day traders reflect a very small portion of investors. That means that 31 times the float in volume is due to normal investor, including Redditor, activity. Let's say that half of those, again on the high end, were paper hands. That leaves about 15 times the float accounted for by diamond hands, which of course we all know only buy and hold. The situation is completely and utterly insane. My original estimate was 1 billion synthetic shares, but after taking this into account, the absolute minimum must be 7.5 billion. If I have made any error in calculation, which is not on the conservative side, please enlighten me. Otherwise, AMC 1 million is not a meme. So, when I first started crunching numbers on this, I felt like 2 billion shares outstanding was probably appropriate. And this was back in March, if I had to guess. I think March is probably when I set up the original modeling that I started doing. And I kind of had a guesstimate of about 2 billion outstanding shares. Now, with as much stuff that has gone on, I don't even think I could come close to trying to predict how many outstanding shares there are, because there's so much stuff that's happened. Mainly, I think some of the stuff that would really throw me off the most is the fact that they diluted the shares. So once AMC started diluting the shares, trying to use like similar modeling to what happened to GME becomes a lot more difficult, because you now have additional factors that are manipulating the stock in different ways that we didn't see with GME, which is pretty much why I was against share dilution from the get-go. I was like, no, 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 let's not do that. Let's not mess with my formulas. But they did, and we've just kind of gone along and eaten up all those shares. 7.5 billion seems like a lot, especially when I was considering 4 times. I actually had it at 4 point, I think it was 4.65 or 4.56. I can't remember which times the float. So, and at the time the float was like 4 billion. Sorry, 4 billion, 400 million shares at the time, but we're at 513 now. Um, let me just do some quick math, like a rough estimate as to how many possible shares. If we traded, because I did do my estimates based off of volume as well. Interestingly enough, because that's how he's looking at it, and I did mine as well based off of volume during January. I think it's really difficult to try and look at it right now, because the best time that's going to be able to uh, give us a better idea on how many actual shares are existing is when the squeeze actually happens. And at that point, then it'll be easier to fix, or to kind of get a fix on what the total possible outstanding synthetic shares is. But let's say we did, earlier I was looking at 1.1 billion shares traded in a day. Let's say we did hit that. Um, if I averaged it around 1.1 billion, (21) divided by 5, what do we have? 515 shares outstanding. 513. How many is he saying? 7.5 billion. I'm still really only coming up with like 4.5, which is odd that I'm still coming up with 4.5 just roughly. When I got 4.56 when I did closer estimates a long time ago. But 4.5 times the float would actually be larger now than it was back when we only had 400,000. So 4.5 times the float would be 2.3 billion. So that's kind of where I'm estimating right now. Synthetic shares, I feel like there's a possibility that we're probably just over 2.3 billion, maybe. That's just a quick estimate based off of volume levels. I don't know about 7.5 billion. That's quite a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, though. It doesn't matter if I think that that's right or not right. The fact of the matter is that we have so many outstanding shares that this is going to be, when it does explode, it's going to be a while. It's going to take some time. I'm estimating. I know Trey had originally suggested that the squeeze will take about 7 days long, but when the squeeze actually starts, I think it could take up to 21 days. So be mindful of that. That when we see this go down, it's not going to be It's not going to be as explosive as you would possibly think. And I mean, it is, but it's not going to be in the sense that it's all going to be in one day. And I actually there was a point in time when I crunched some numbers a couple weeks ago where I was starting to think that there was a chance that we might actually be in the squeeze. There's an argument that could be made that that's the case. I had always kind of figured that once we hit about $20 that it was going to be the squeeze, but then I forgot to I forgot the most basic part of multiplying it by that 4.56 times, which if you do that times 20 ends up being $91.20. So I personally believe that our number is going to be about 90, somewhere between 90 and 95 bucks before you start seeing margin calls. But I do think that we're in that like pre-squeeze phase where our price is slowly having these like jump ups, and right now we're just kind of in this phase of we're waiting for the next jump up. Whether that next phase gets us into that $90 range is another question. I mean, we hit 70 something dollars, 77 I think, on our last jump up. I have it here somewhere. Hold on a second. What did we hit? 77.26, and that was on the 3rd. So, I mean, it's possible. What did we get up to today? Nope, not quite. I mean, if you look at the big picture, let's just do 1 hour. If you look at the big picture, we're really doing just a lot of consolidation here. This is over many, 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 many days, right? This is like from right here on, that's half a month almost right there. Slightly more than half a month. That right there is a month. So there's definitely some downtrend here. But you know, I think we're just kind of consolidating for another one of these. If you zoomed in on a couple places over here, you could see the same kind of similar things happening. You see how that there's a downtrend right here, and then a pop up, and then a downtrend, and then a pop up. Now, this is just on a bigger scale. Downtrend, and then the pop up's coming. But this pop up's going to be much bigger. And it could put us into that $90 range where the squeeze is happening. So that's why I feel like we're kind of like in this pre-squeeze time. Um, at least that's what it's looking like. Supply of shares on loan is not directly tied to the borrowed shares. So this is what True Demon sent back to me. He said, supply of shares on loan is not directly tied to borrowed shares. The supply can be added to at any time by institutions and long investors of a stock who are willing to lend. Which, yeah, I totally get that. That's what changes our utilization. Also remember that shares returned have a T+2 settlement before they can be lent out again. Yeah, no, I know, but that's why utilization is so jacked up because, you know, if the amount of shares that they suddenly decide to loan out becomes more, then our utilization goes down. Man, I want to talk to him again. Hmm. 15.18% short share interest, negative, sorry, 15.19% short share interest, negative 1.11 million shares lent out, which is slightly down from 1.14. On the options, I really thought that we'd start seeing some of these put open interest options being closed out. Oh, maybe they are. Those look the same. 18.6 on $38. That's almost getting overmatched by $37. 18.6. And on the call side, we got 40.6. So on AMC, sorry, the Stonko tracker for AMC, it says that it's got this new trading volume section that you can look at now. And that's how you're going to see our volume for the day. And how it's trending over time. So, start out and this is half-hour increments. So 8.4 down to 5.6, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. But, it's declining. Wait a minute, is this hour over? 1400, 14 is 2. That's over. Wow, this last hour has been really bad. Let's see that on the page. Doesn't look that bad. Looks like we're back down in the channel again. So hopefully we'll bounce off the 3682 level of support. 3682 looks like it's 3688. We have 10,000 shares there. Okay, so we're starting to see a little bit of momentum here. We got 4 orders with 10,000 plus shares, not allowing it to drop further. So, Yahoo Entertainment posted a article that says AMC Entertainment CEO Adam Aaron slams spreaders of FUD after annual meeting. So Redditors who weren't there had begged for details from those who were. Are you giving a recap? Are they going to sell AMC t-shirts in AMC theaters? More art, please give more info. Ask Adam if they will offer banana flavored packets for popcorn. Are we going to get another free popcorn? The free coffee was okay, but it's 100 degrees here, not in the mood for coffee. Somebody said, can you ask about the share count, please? Tallies of the shareholder votes on executive pay and other standard proposals were filed with the SEC today, and Aaron said investors who couldn't access the annual meeting can ask questions on a webcast when the company reports quarterly financial results. He promised that day and time that will be announced later Friday. So sometime later today, we'll know when that shareholder meeting is gonna, or not meeting, but the quarterly report will come out. The back and forth, very unusual for public company CEO, has become the new normal for Aaron. He's embraced the outspoken group that first coalesced around the largest U.S. theater chain early this year on Reddit chat room Wall Street Bets, surging into select stocks led by GameStop in a watershed moment for financial markets. GameStop and AMC have high name recognition and were hit hard by shifts, respectively, in retail and movie-going, exacerbated by the pandemic. And the pound sign Save AMC campaign helped catapult the $2 stock of a company that struggled all through 2020 to save off bankruptcy to a high of over 70. I feel like they spelled this word wrong. Anyways, moving on. AMC sold shares on the ride up, raising more cash than it could have imagined just months earlier, including 587.4 million from the sale of 11.55 million shares in an at-the-market transaction at average price of $50.85, and 230 million from selling 8.5 million shares to an investment firm Mudrick Capital. Redditors were a lifeline for AMC. It was very fortunate, said one analyst. Big stakeholders Silver Lake and Wanda also cashed out, leaving the Reddit crowd front and center. AMC, in fact, had postponed today's annual meeting from its initial date in early May to provide additional time for its millions of current individual shareholders to have their voices heard and more time to cast ballots on important shareholder matters. Wall Street analysts whose share price targets depend on their evaluation of fundamental business prospects threw up their hands. Shares are well off their high, but still healthy, changing hands Friday at about $37. Wow, how did they know that was going to be? When was this posted? How did they know it was going to be $37? This was posted 12:37 p.m. 12:37 p.m. I mean, even if it was 1:37, okay, I guess so. Yeah, it was. Just seemed odd that they got that out already. A stage goal of Redditors in driving the stock higher and urging each other to stick with it. The squeezing short sellers, hedge funds, that to them represent big bad institutional Wall Street. Short sellers borrow shares, betting the price will fall, and they can make a profit selling them at a market price and buying them back cheaper before returning them. But if the shares rise, they have to scramble to cover their positions. Retail investors have also been clamoring about so-called synthetic shares or artificially created positions, even urging AMC to issue a dividend to flush them out. Aaron, I don't know if it's Aaron or Aaron, I'm going to go with Aaron, Aaron tried to calm the waters as to the existence of so-called fake or synthetic shares or the naked short selling of AMC shares. We are unaware of any information validating these theories. Also, we are unable to make any comment on the considerable trading of puts, calls, derivatives. So far, he's engaged with his new fan club brilliantly, creating a dedicated investor tab, Investor Connect, on AMC's website, offering them free popcorn, coffee, and membership and loyalty program, AMC Stubs. As of July 17th, he said nearly a quarter million shareholders had signed up. After all, these people are the owners of AMC and I work for them, Aaron said when announcing the program. It hasn't been smooth sailing. Aaron said the AMC board badly wanted to sell more stock to raise more cash, but backed down in the face of very vocal chat room opposition. The company reluctantly yanked a proposal it had on the agenda for the annual meeting seeking authorization to sell an additional 25 million shares. Some on Wall Street think it missed a good opportunity to raise fresh funds in a still uncertain environment for movie theaters. AMC had also said it wanted funds to buy more theaters. Earlier this month, it announced a deal with Los Angeles real estate titan Rick Caruso for leases to the 14-screen Grove Theater in Los Angeles and the 18-screen Americana at Brand Theater in Glendale. AKA not fake. Um, I still really want to know. I don't feel like there's been a good explanation. I'd like to see a breakdown as to the numbers that were posted. They need to give some kind of like definition as to how those were counted. Did they just simply have that many votes and that was it? Period. Um, and how is it that we could have that many votes when we're pretty certain that we own more than the float? I'm beyond certain. See, now there are people posting on Reddit saying, "What's Adam Aaron doing? He's saying he can't verify shorts. Is he really on our side?" I think he's on our side. I do tend to think, he has a really difficult job. Um, he has an obligation to work for the company, not for the apes. And I know he says he works for us. He does. He does work for us, but in a roundabout way because he's trying to save a company. That benefits us, so in a sense, it's working for us. But his obligation is to the company first and foremost. And that's kind of why I think it's a bad idea to have him as the head of the board of directors. It's kind of I feel like you're policing yourself when that happens, and that can get into a dangerous territory. But anyways, I do think he's on our side. I don't think he's against us. If he thinks that he can use us to better the company, I think he will do that. And if you don't believe that, then just look at the issued dilution shares. Not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's fine. That's okay. But I don't think that the dilution of the shares helped us. Not us, meaning I'm sure it helped the company, but the dilution didn't help the retail investors who are involved in this and owning this stock. It helped the hedge funds to dig a deeper hole. But I'm pretty certain that BlackRock and Citadel or BlackRock and Vanguard are doing a good enough job doing that as well. So with all the shares that they lend to them, and they're not the only ones. There's others as well. Looks like we're about ready to break out of this channel. Maybe, hopefully. Uh, where did I not want to see us drop below? I don't want to see us drop below something we already dropped below. 3781 was the number. Yep, we're well past that. Right about here. We're gonna have some work getting back up here. Looks like somebody submitted an S. This is posted by More Art 9975. Another SEC request. This one is the last 12 months of complaints against Citadel. Should be an interesting read. Looks like they submitted an FOIA request dated and received in the office on July 29th for records regarding Citadel securities. So that should be interesting to see what they have to post on that. This is some ingenuity. If you're having problems with with the stock price, and if it is scaring you, they found a way to reduce anxiety. Change this candle colors to all green. This is more like it. That's pretty funny. That could certainly help. I should have asked Duncan. If you're still listening, Duncan, I should have asked you. Um do you have any? Oh, shoot, what do they call it? What is it called when you've been in war and you have like flashbacks of terrible things that happened? There's a term for it. I can't think what it is. Like a post-traumatic syndrome or something of. Do you get any of that from watching AMC's Price? So somebody else is noticing what I noticed earlier with the whole 5.4 million shares available to borrow for shorting. They will play with the market emotions and create downslide. Do not panic or fall from the market manipulation and high frequency algorithmic trading. Yeah, so it did. It increased to 5.4 million. Like I said, I feel like they feel like a fight's coming. Just a reminder, then China. This is posted by Dreaming Big on Reddit. They said that just a reminder that China banned Citadel securities for close to 5 years for algorithmic trading related to short selling in 2015. China did more to protect its market from Citadel than the U.S. has. Let that sink in. I'm still waiting to see the options. What I'm looking to see happen in the options is I'm waiting to see the OI um, reduce from the options that are at like the 38 strike price, which we should see happen. And I'm not seeing it. Hmm. Well, isn't volume just really happy? Okay, guys, I'm gonna take probably about a 40-minute break. We'll come in. We'll come back about 10 after the hour. So I'll be back for the last 50 minutes of the power hour, and I will just keep leaving the stream running, and hopefully we can close out the day back up above 3750 because that's what I need it to be. Let's see. What did John pick again? John picked 38 to 41, so he needs 38. If he hits 38.01, he'll be good, and Eric won't be. So there's gonna be some overlapping going on today here. But I'm hoping for 38 at the very bare minimum. Let's try to push back to 40. All right, guys. See you back here at 2:10 Central Standard Time. Okay, I am back about 5 minutes early here. Um, let's see. So we broke out of that channel finally, and welcome to the Power Hour. Oh, let's see here. Nice little George W going on here, like a sideways George W and a kind of almost a upwards George W. Just kind of weird stuff going on right there. We are heading towards testing $37.40. I'm still curious about these options. Let's check them out and see if the $40 strike open interest closed out on $38, and it didn't. It's still the same. So I'll go ahead and pull those back over here real quick. We can check them out together. We have 41.8 at $40, slightly up. And on the put side, $38, we have 21.6. Okay. But yeah, it doesn't seem like we have any open interest sides closed. Those still appear to be the same. Okay, so I won't see the open interest. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. So that's when you were watching earlier. I wanted to ask when we would see the open interest change. So for Fridays, the open interest value changes on Monday, and that will show us, I guess, how much closed out. Would that be the case? Is that how that works? Because I honestly don't track the options well enough to know how, like, what the reset times and all that kind of stuff is. Okay, so it doesn't mean that they haven't been closed. Okay, so there's just real no way of knowing, I guess, then whether or not they've closed their positions. But it does give us an idea as to where they were investing day over day. Okay, right. They all expire. That's correct. They all do expire by the end of the day today. But the puts, if I understand correctly, um, they have to cover those positions, or it could be indefinite how much they could lose. Because over time they have to keep continuing to pay, right? I think maybe. Not exactly sure how the puts work on an expiration because I've obviously never opened up a put position on a stock before. Okay, so as far as inflow versus outflow. Come on, screen refresh. There we go. 370 to 394, but we are having a nice run up right now. Testing that level of resistance at 37.43. You can see it right here. They actually have 37.35, 2,400 and some odd shares were set up there. It looks like it tested it and it's gone away, that wall. I'm still concerned about what the shares available to borrow means and why it's so high. Just kind of a little bit of an indicator to me that something's going on. It seems like an excess of shares that they have available to borrow to maybe fight a fight if they need to. Either that or it's misreporting, one of the two. Uh, Currently, it looks to me they had 1.11 million shares returned today, and now it's down to 961,000. And short share interest is at 15.21%. So Tree Trades posted about 16 minutes ago on Twitter. He said, Adam Aaron and big entities can't play the game of speculation. They have to be able to definitively prove there are more shares than should exist, or they won't say anything. Keep AMC simple, my friends. It it seems to me like it should be pretty simple. So those are the tweets that are out right now. Let's see. Let's check and see if there's anything else here. I'm going to Reddit to check Reddit. I really love this musical ADD. I when I created this channel, I actually already knew musical ADD through Weeble, and I didn't. It never even dawned on me when I made this channel that it almost seems like I was copying something that he had done when I put AMC and ADD, but it was in reference to both John and I both having ADD, and so we thought it would be. Originally, we were thinking about naming the channel something like Two Men with ADD and AMC or something like that, but I never even thought about the fact that I already knew somebody who had a username that was like that. But anyways, this guy's got some incredible art that he puts out based on the stocks that he's looking at. And he has just, I've told the guy already before, I said, when this is all said and done, I'm going to get some t-shirts made up with your art on it because it is just, I don't know, there's something about his simple sketches that just, I absolutely love them. So yeah, that's it right there. Um, he'll take something that he's seen over the day and draw up something based on that. It looks like this is actually back from when we had the squeeze from $15 up to 70 some odd dollars. But yeah, he just makes stuff. Um, does little simple drawings. They almost look like things that you could probably do on your phone. Pretty creative guy though. Let's see. I think he probably has more of his stuff posted. I think one of the ones. I don't. It was funny. The very first time I met him, I had said something about the graph looking like it was the hedge funds giving the middle finger, or us giving the hedge funds the middle finger. And he drew a simple little drawing to it and said, "Yep, sure enough, sure does look like it." And I've followed him ever since. I don't see it in here. I mean, some of it's just crazy though. This is based off of a Dogecoin picture. It's just really good stuff. I am. I'm gonna pay him for his work, and and make some t-shirts out of this stuff. I think it's absolutely great. This one's, I love this one. He's just so talented. Yeah, here's an addition to it. He added on to that other one. Such good work. I wish I could draw. I'll tell you what, man. So being a musician myself, musical ADD is actually a musician too. Um, being a musician myself, one of the things I wished I had been blessed with was the ability to uh, paint or draw or something, and I have none whatsoever. So yeah, put option is a contract giving the owner the right but not the obligation to sell or sell short specified amount of an underlying security at a predetermined price within a specific time frame. So they can just let them expire without exercising them. Yeah. Can we hit 38 today? That is the question. Exiting out. Exiting out the day. Will it be a fight for 37 or a fight for 38? I'm hoping for 38 because right now I'm out. The only person who's in right now is, let's see, Duncan and John. Nope, I'm sorry, Duncan and Eric are both in a running for a hashtag or a tally mark. Hashtag winners. This week, though, surprisingly, we had 2 days this week where we all three got points in one day. It was very unusual. Robinhood just kind of fizzled out, so it did have that little bit of run up. Started to peak a second time and then just kind of fizzled out. Amazon struggled pretty much the whole day. Cinemark down for the day 2%. Dogecoin down almost 3%. GME down 2.79%, and we're down almost 3%. Just checking AMC to see if there's any news on Google. Let's see what we got here. 6 hours ago, an article on Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. 9 hours ago, short squeezes in AMC GameStop ensured hedge funds don't get out over their skis like Archegos. Okay, let's read this. This might be interesting. This is on Benzinga. The short squeeze in AMC Entertainment Holdings and GameStop Corporation have ensured that the hedge funds will not get out over their skis the way Archegos Capital Management did, according to Keith Bliss, a former NYSE trader and president of fintech solutions provider Capital 2 Market. What happened? The whole short squeeze episode shows that retail investors have emerged as the bigger players, Bliss told Yahoo Finance. He also dubbed 2021 as the era of the retail investor. Bliss noted the institutional investors now monitor chat rooms and forums like Reddit's Wall Street Bets to see which stocks are receiving high interest from retail investors. Why it matters. Retail investors have shown short sellers and hedge funds that they are now a force to reckon with, Bliss noted. These investors drove up stock prices of heavily shorted stocks like AMC Entertainment and GameStop earlier this year. This resulted in huge losses for short sellers who bet against these stocks. Melvin Capital, which is at the heart of the GameStop saga, reportedly ended the first half of this year with a loss of 46%, as the hedge fund struggled to rebound from the heavy losses it incurred from betting against stocks. Stocks popular with retail investors, so they're just saying what a stock is. It was reported in June that London-based hedge fund White Square Capital, another GameStop short seller, was shutting down after it suffered huge losses during the short squeeze earlier this year. AMC Entertainment shares closed almost 2% lower in Thursday's trading session at 38.13, while GameStop shares closed 2.5% lower at 164.86. We are currently at almost 50 million shares traded, with just a little over a half hour left of trading left. Might be a bit of a wedge forming right now. I think another term for this is called. Is it called a triangle? No. What is it called? Oh yeah, triangle. But the difference is this is a symmetrical triangle. It's a descending triangle, which would look like this. I'm gonna get rid of the. I believe this is a descending triangle pattern that's starting to form, and I'm just gonna put a bottom right here. And the top goes up here. Unfortunately, this is because the flat line is on the bottom, this is a bearish signal. So as this trend, and there's only there's kind of three touch points here. This one's not low enough. There's this, I mean, I said three, I meant two. There's kind of two touch points here. Not quite, just about though. So, but it does kind of look like a wedge pattern to me, or triangle. And so this kind of angled, what do they call it? A descending triangle. would mean that a breakout out of this would tend to have the price go lower. So where you would probably see this happening would be somewhere around that 36.82 point. So as this wedge starts to kind of come down to the end here, it's going to find its way past that 36.82 at some point and then try to break down low. But it is the end of the day, so that might not happen until after the end of the market hours. We might see a breakout. If I had to guess what the end of the day is going to look like, we could have a little bit of something kind of like this go on. Oops. Delete. Go away. Polyline. We could see a little something like this. And then who knows where it goes after that. Oh, dang, it got rid of everything. Something like that. And it's just kind of a rough estimate of what the end of the day could look like, which means we'd probably end up closing around 36. I think this level is 36, just a little over 37. But let's see what happens. The last 15 minutes is usually a little bit in our favor, not always. Volume is, let's see, low. Last column of volume was 66,000 shares. So yeah, it's gonna be pushing just to even try and break. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll break 50 million, but um, yeah, it's just low. So I was thinking about putting on some more disclosures. That's I probably shouldn't call it a disclosure, but that's what I'm gonna copy and paste reference. No. Text. I'm gonna put contact info in. I want people to be able to reach me in off hours, and I'm not always like looking at, like, say for example, like YouTube. So I do want to put down like contact info for people to be able to reach me. I'm probably gonna have to start a new email for that specifically. But I want the text to read. Ooh, way too big. Oh, and this is happening live. It's gonna pop up here live for you to see. Let's give it some color first off. Let's see, select font. Let's do hope you guys didn't hear that. Yeah, I've got the sound turned off. Okay, and let's change the color of the font. I think I want the color to be um maybe a dark blue. That's like my favorite color. Cobalt blue is my favorite color. Where select color? Hopefully this will show up. Where's that popping up at? I don't see it. I guess I need to know what my Twitter account name is, don't I? At Cold Steel Bop. Okay, where is it going to put it on the screen? Because I don't see it. Oh, it is so small. Okay, so I need the larger size font. And it needs to go to the top. What the heck just happened? I don't know if you guys can see it, but the contact info is at the very top of the screen up there. It's it looks super hard to read. Oh, Lambo's come. You know, I to be honest with you, I'm not really into Lambos. Uh, Much like you, I probably would not end up buying a Lamborghini. That is not going to show up well on the black. Maybe if it's a different size font. This is going to look terrible. All right, let's try and fit this in here. That's not bad. I like that. I think it looks decent. Hey, my lines aren't turning out too bad either. Looks like I mean, kind of the general idea of what I was trying to draw out, what I thought the end of the day might look like, is kind of forming, but it's just not quite on the same timeline. You know, if I were to scrunch everything in here a little bit, it would probably be a better, you know, formation. But yeah, we're just pretty much just consolidating within this triangle. They coming. I mean, I just can't see myself driving a Lamborghini. It might be fun to like rent one time just for the heck of it, but yeah, it's just not me. I'm more of a Dodge Challenger kind of guy. I'm not sure if you've seen those over there. I owned one previous. If you actually look at my Twitter account, I think it's got a picture of me as my Twitter picture, which I'll try to hold up here so you can see it. Let's see. But yeah, that's the car that I sold. It's probably hard to see in the camera holding it up that close. Uh, Love that car. I can imagine. I can imagine Dodges aren't very popular. Um, it's a lot of people think that it's like a sports car, but it's really a muscle car. It's probably the only last American muscle car that there is. Simply because the Ford Mustang and the Camaro have both Chevy's Camaro have both kind of turned into sports cars. Their frames and everything is a sports uh, car, whereas the Dodge is one of the only cars it's just not a sports car. It's a beast. The thing is big and it's heavy and it's by no means a sports car. It is definitely a muscle car. This is a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern. We've talked about those before, and that is definitely bearish. So that this head and shoulders pattern falling inside of this bearish triangle definitely means to me that we're going to be breaking out down here. I, it, the way it's forming out right now, this probably is looking less likely, and that it'll actually be a I mean, historically, I see a push at the very end of the day today. Every end of every day ever. So historically speaking, I would expect to see this kind of upwards movement at the very end, but the way that this is trending right now, it's actually looking like it's going to kind of swing um, down lower. So, but that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess if this is just natural consolidation with inside of the wedge, then it might be okay, and it could continue to complete something of this formation. Me and the wife and the family, the whole family, we're gonna go out to Pluckers after this and have ourselves some wings. Might be one of the last times in a while that we might be able to do that. Wings is kind of one of those finger licking foods that you probably don't want to have during a pandemic. So it sounds like we're going to have lockdowns coming up here. In fact, I was reading somebody posted something about lockdowns starting in August. I kind of just glazed over it, but they were saying that the White House has already agreed that lockdowns were going to start happening again. Let me see where that's at. I think honestly that the only way that they're going to get a buy-in on lockdowns is to do like rolling lockdowns based on cases that are popping up. So if they make it into a certain level of awareness or threat levels, I don't want to call it a threat level. What is it? I can't think. Uh, what do they call those? Different levels of concern. They'll start shutting down different cities based on their levels of infections. I've got a little bit of a background in, um, I don't want to say healthcare. I'm an ERT member for probably the better part of the last 15 years. So I have first aid and medical treatment and also hazmat background. And when it comes to uh, a lot of this quarantine stuff, I have an idea, or I have I see where they're kind of going with some of this stuff, and I think the way that they'll probably move forward with this is rolling lockouts based off of the conditions of cases that are coming in each city. Um, because you don't want the last thing that we want is to have like another huge spikes of cases. So there will be some lockdowns coming. I didn't see. I just looked again to see if I could find that post that somebody put on Reddit, but I didn't see it on here. But I'm really not too worried about it. I don't think it's going to affect us a whole lot. AMC is still going to be fine. Um, where is this post with the rolling lockouts? Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. Do you guys even have pluckers in Denmark? The system we have at the moment in regards to lockdown are on municipality level, and we've had a few, but don't expect any in the future. Yeah, and I think that's what it's going to be like here. Ultimately, what we'll end up seeing is, I think certain governors of their states are going to have the choice to lock down or have the means to lock down, and pluckers here in the United States. I don't know if you've ever been to one or not, but it's a wing. If you ever heard Buffalo Wild Wings or wings, um, it's one of those kind of restaurant where you can eat chicken wings. Not like the full big chicken wing, but it's like kind of like a little small one, probably about that big around. And like some are drum legs and some are little tiny, like two bones inside. But they're real small. But yeah, I think the governors are probably going to be given the opportunity to decide what they're going to do for their state. And I know Texas being as liberal as, or sorry, not as liberal, with Texas being as conservative as it is, I think that they're going to just go the way that they want to go. And I know they've been against a lot of. I really think they need to take more precautions, but we'll see. McDonald's is all over a few KFC and Domino's. Besides that, I think the U.S. food chains are almost non-existent here. Probably the best for you guys, like, right? I mean, American food chains are probably not the best place to be getting good sources of food. I'll bet that your wife probably cooks up a mean meal. I'll bet you guys probably have some pretty good food there. So this pattern is kind of coming to fruition. I may have gone a little bit high and a little too long on some of these drawouts. I could see this definitely shooting up to here and then falling back down in the aftermarket hours. So we could see a close around 37.20. Um, Unfortunate for me, it's so close to my bottom. We do have a pretty strong level of support at $37. I don't think that we're going to be returning to that. There's big level of support there. There's an even bigger one at 36.82. But there's two levels of support right around 37. We are in the last 15 minutes. And Duncan, I'm going to get you your own little spot on the options, or not option, on the tally marker there, so you can be a part of that. And I know I'm pretty sure that you've got at least two tally marks previous to this. We'll take them away from John and give them to you. He's gonna have something to say about that. He'll be like, "What? Come on!" I'll be like, "Dude, you missed. You were here." I'm pretty sure at least two of his tally marks were scored by you, and then we'll put you at. It's looking like you're gonna score another one today. Am I right? Yeah. So we'll give you three tally marks starting Monday. Look, you can tell there's a big fight going on right now. Like they just don't want it to continue to go up here. You know, the candle wicks, the wicks on either side of these candlesticks are just pretty big. You know, in contrast to everything else, you only see it on one side. So there's a struggle happening starting right about here. 1541, the last 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to watch my own stream for just a second. I need to see how that. I love cobalt blue, but the problem is I've been told so many times that it never goes or overlays well on black, and I love how it looks. I can't help myself. So I'm gonna have to hit play on my own stream. Okay, yeah, it's not too bad. I like it. It's a little hard to read, but it's not terrible. I think it's readable. Hmm. I don't think I've ever watched my own stream on my phone before. Interesting. It doesn't look too shabby, if I don't say myself. Okay, so we didn't continue to have that upwards trend. It is starting to trend one last time downwards here. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a push at the very end. Delete this. It's just kind of noisy. Guys, girls, dudes, apes, um, have a great weekend, right? Let this stuff go. Just enjoy your time with your families. Enjoy your time with your friends. Drink, eat, be merry, and don't stress about AMC at all. It's going to be here for us on Monday morning, and I'm excited about next week. I really am, and I'm looking forward to spending it with you guys. But as for me, I usually typically set most everything down. I have a little bit of work that I'll probably be doing over the weekend on some AMC stuff, but for the most part, I'm gonna set it down and just kind of enjoy the family and whatnot. Work time is over, and you know we live life on the weekends, right? Until Monday. Still got a few more minutes here, but I just, I wanted to tell you guys, you know, be good to yourselves. Enjoy your time. And I especially liked your, one of the last statements that you said today. How this is not the end for you. This is not money that's going to drastically affect you one way or the other. And so you still have everything that you need in life. You've got your home. You've got money. You've got your family. You have all the things that are important that you need. And so and I'm going to add to that that this is that time where you spend your time on those things for this weekend. I don't know how it works over there in Denmark, how you guys look at weekends, but I think a lot of people in the United States uh, really kind of value their time, their weekend time. So let's do that. Let's enjoy our time. I'll take a look, real quick look at some of the other indices real quick here to see where we're at. So we have still 5.4 million shares available to borrow currently showing. These numbers are really big. I haven't seen these numbers that big in a long time. It's still saying that it hasn't updated since the 12:48 this afternoon. And typically you see it updating. So it's either just not changing at all or they stopped updating at some point. So there could be some kind of glitch going on there. Uh, don't forget the dark pools are 67.4% yesterday. It's been on a decline since it's been in the 70s. Short exempt volume has been a little bit on a decline. We want to see that increase. Uh, Again, make sure you go out and talk to your friends, whoever else that you know who's involved in this, and make sure that they have their shares not being borrowed. We might have a little bit of an interview with my mom next week on that. I think she might be digging up some information that might be pertinent to some individuals that are out there. Um, Short share interest is at 15.21%. 948,000 shares borrowed. I'm sorry, returned. That's slightly lower than it was earlier. And let's see, utilization obviously at 91.63. We might see this drop a little. With the amount of shares that I'm seeing showing up on that Stonko tracker, I feel like that number is probably going to decrease. If I had to guess, this is my guess. How would you make this number look really, really, really bad? And the best that I can tell you is that since we know that it's the amount of shares that can be borrowed divided by um, what's available, and that's your total percentage of utilization. If we see a whole bunch of shares pop up over here like this, that's going to cause that number to get lower. So look to see some really crappy number for utilization next week. I have a feeling they're trying to attack the numbers to make it look really bad for us. So 85, maybe 84% by Monday when we come back looking at it. That's going to scare people. And that's what they want to do. They want to scare people. Don't be scared. Know that there's a reason why these numbers are doing what they're doing. Let's see. What else is there? Did we look at options? Pull up options one more time. $44.3. So calls went up at the $40 strike price to 44.3. Didn't quite make it. There's going to be some money lost there. Puts at 38. It looks like it actually moved down to 37. And they're going to make some money on those. 37 is at 33.50. I'm sure they would have loved to have made a lot more money on something down here further, but they did make some money on those puts. It looks like this week. Options for next week, I have those. You know what? Let me refresh this real quick. I have to do it off the side. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so options for next week. Looks like 40 for the puts. 10, 11, 12. That beats that out. 8 and 8 and 16. So 30 is actually the highest amount for puts because they've already got on open interest. They've already got 8,000, and then on volume they have another 8,000. So I would say that that's probably the largest grouping right there. This is next week. Yeah, that's next week. This is for August 6th. And then $40 again would be the strong side. The strong hand. Oh, I didn't mean it to look like that. All right, guys. I'm going to close it out. Have a great weekend. Be good.
T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. Discovery is now running off its 3 onboard fuel cells. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start. And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond. Well played, Apple. Performance reducing the stress on shuttles and makes them
Solid rocket booster separation confirmed. Guidance now converging. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
Dan, you sound good.
Discovery Houston, negative return.
Copy, a negative return.